Okay, so this is the last video I'll do for the audio editing assignment. So we're just gonna use one more sample to mess with. This is the sample we're gonna use. Okay, what we're going to do this time is we're going to add a sampler software instrument again, and we're going to create a kind of a soft pad sound, something kind of quite ambient that you could use as an instrument in your track. So we need to create a software instrument. So add and software instrument. From the drop-down menu, select sampler and hit create. So here's the sampler. If it doesn't open up automatically, you just need to click, make sure the inspector's open, and then click in the middle of the blue sampler icon here. We need to see the mapping zone. So let's open up the mapping zone. The mapping zone and the zone. And then we grab our sample and we drag it in. Now, before I let go of the mouse, I'm going to drag it up as high as I can in this window so that it covers all of the notes. So if you have the mouse down at the bottom, then it only covers one note, and the higher you bring your mouse up, the more notes it covers. But I want it to cover the whole keyboard, so I can use it as a full-on instrument. Let go, and it will import it. And here we go. Here's the sample, and it's covering all the notes. I'm going to turn on my virtual keyboard so I can play it. I'm playing quite a low note. Okay, so at the moment it's just playing the sample once, and that's what's going to happen each time I hit a note. Cool. I don't want it to do that. I want to create a legato, kind of long tone, long note that will just keep playing as long as I'm holding down the note on the keyboard. So the way we're going to do this is by messing around with the audio editor here. So I'm going to change the start point of the audio file, because at the moment there's a section of sort of nothingness here. So I could have it start here, but I don't want this. I don't want the da-da-da bit at the beginning. I just want sort of the textural kind of decay here. Cool. Okay, so I'm also going to turn on my loop markers for this audio file so that it constantly loops around and doesn't stop until I let go of the note on the keyboard. So in the mode drop down at the bottom, I'm going to select forwards, and it will create two yellow loop markers that I can adjust. So if I hit the note now, it will just keep going round and round and round. But it's not very smooth. You can hear a definite kind of jump as it returns to the beginning. So we can try and lessen this kind of obvious jump by using this crossfader here. If you click on this and drag it left and right, it crossfades between the end and start points. It's not perfect, but it will kind of help smooth out the repeat. So it's less obvious than this. And I could still edit the start and end loop points. I could even make it go backwards or alternate it. Yeah, I think I'll have the alternate one on. Also, I don't want it to start straight away because I want it to be quite a smooth sort of instrument that I'm creating. I don't want it to sort of like play immediately after I hit the note. So I'm going to have it fade in slightly. So if I bring up the fade in, then it will kind of take a little bit longer for that initial note to kind of come to full volume. You can actually see that as I was moving this up, this fade box was gradually making its way forward. So I could also just drag this forward. Cool, quite dark. So I've got the sort of the beginnings of some kind of nice pad sound. A really good way to enhance this sound is to put a reverb on it. So in the previous video we looked at adding effects. So go to the channel strip on the left hand side and you'll see it says audio effects just underneath the sampler instrument. Click and the menu will appear, and we'll hover down to the reverb menu. I'm going to stick we'll change it up. I'll stick a Space Designer on this time. And as always, go to the drop down, find yourself a nice preset to use. So a large space, maybe a hall, a botter church. I don't know what it sounds like, but we'll give it a go. You may note there are some numbers at the beginning. These numbers indicate the number of seconds that the reverb lasts for. So I want quite a long one. So 6.6 seconds sounds good. So if I play my note again. Got a bit of a Hans Zimmer-esque kind of tone to it. So already we've turned that original sample into something quite different. I'm going to make the wet a bit higher, make it even more reverby. Cool, okay, right, let's close that reverb box. Finally, if you want to go even further, you can look at the modulation section, which is modulation is where we make things kind of move and change over time. So I'm happy with this here with my looping, and I'm happy with my mapping window, so I can turn these off by clicking the little yellow dots. Turn the synth off as well, I don't want that. All I want to see are my modulators and my mod matrix. So modulators are something that makes something else move. So as an example, I've got an LFO here, which basically is a low frequency oscillator. So basically what happens is it makes something move up and down kind of like this, and we could affect, I don't know, the volume. We could make the volume go up and down. Okay, so let's do that. We have to use the mod matrix in order to do this. So this is called LFO1. This is our modulator. This is our source, as it were. So in our mod matrix, we go to our source section, and we can choose LFO1 from our drop-down menu. So LFO1. You can add more LFOs and envelopes with these little plus symbols here. The target, as I just said, is going to be our volume. So let's click on the drop-down menu for this and find our volume. And then I'll just turn this to, we don't want to add any sort of vires at the moment. So all we need to do now to make the LFO affect the volume is to turn up the amount. So at the moment, if I play a note, it will play and the volume will stay level. If I turn up the amount that I want this LFO to affect this volume, then we'll start to hear some change. And you can hear that this kind of triangle wave here is making the volume kind of go up and down in that way. Let's change it to a sine wave. It's a bit smoother. Okay, so that's what modulation does. It makes something move. So our modulator, our LFO, is making our volume move up and down in the same way that this shape is. We could choose a random one, and the volume will change randomly. Okay, so I'm going to put it back to our triangle wave. Now, you can change the speed of this LFO as well by changing the rate. So if I turn it down, then it will get slower. So it's a much more gentle modulation. Oh, I could turn it up loads and it will sound a bit more like a helicopter. And then I could change the amount as well. Okay, so I'm not going to go into any more depth about the envelopes at this point. If you want to explore modulation, start off with the LFO. So just a quick reminder, you need to make sure the modulators yellow dot and the mod matrix dot are open so that you can see the modulator itself and then you can assign that modulator to something. Yeah, take your sample, drop it into the sampler with the mapping window, change the start and end points, turn on the loop markers, fade in, crossfades, and then modulate the sound and turn it into something kind of evolving and developing and interesting. That's it.